What's up guys, it's Louis here, hope you are doing great. In this video, I'm going to cover how you can pay off your properties much quicker and reduce your overall interest payments. With that said, these are tips that I implemented with my own properties, and although my strategy is not focused on paying off all of my properties as quickly as possible, because I'm still quite young, it might be something that you want to do to make sure that you remove the financial burden of paying off a property. With that said, most people take out a loan over a 30-year period, meaning your interest payments over that 30 years is quite a lot. I'm going to share a couple of tips that you can implement almost immediately to reduce your overall interest and to reduce your loan term so that you pay off your property. Instead of paying off your property in 30 years, we will be able to settle it in around 20 years. We will use an example of buying a property for 500,000 Rand at prime rate at 11.75% over a 30-year term, and this will be the example we use throughout the whole video. If we look at a traditional amortization table, it's quite scary to see the amount of interest that you get charged from day one. Like we can see here, from the first month, our payment amount will be around 5,047 Rand, and the interest amount will be a massive 4,896 Rand, where the capital reduction will only be 151 Rand. So in the first month, you will only be reducing your overall debt with 151 Rand. So if I scroll down, we can see that this will continue for 360 months, which is basically 30 years. If you are okay with paying around 1.3 million Rand on interest payments on a 500,000 Rand loan, then you can continue with the basic payment method. But obviously you are here to reduce your overall loan term, and I'm going to show you guys how we can do that. The first and probably the most straightforward way to reduce your loan term is to simply make additional payments. Obviously, this is not possible for everyone, but I would say if you can make a 10% additional payment on your loan, you can reduce your overall debt quite significantly. And let me show you how. Again, we use the 500,000 Rand as an example, and if we make a 10% additional payment, which is 500 Rand on our 5,000 Rand, here we can see that we potentially save 140 months of interest payments. So instead of having a loan term of 360 months, if we make a 10% additional payment every month, we can reduce our term to around 220 months. That goes down from a 30-year loan to around a 19-year loan by making a 10% additional payment. Let's step it up, and this is the second way that you can reduce your overall debt, is to make an additional lump sum payment. And I know that for most people, making a lump sum payment isn't really possible, but let's say you are able to save up additional funds once a year that you can push into your property. Let's see the impact that it can make. Let's say again we are able to put down a 10% lump sum payment of 50,000 Rand, and I know this might be a bit unrealistic to some people, but again, even if it's only 10,000 Rand, every bit helps. Let's recalculate this and see the impact that it makes. We will be able to reduce our loan term to around 163 months, and if we divide this by 12 months, it's around 14 years. So if we make a 10% additional monthly payment as well as a once-off 10% lump sum payment, we can go down from a 30-year loan to almost a 14-year loan. This is great because the amount of interest that we will save by following these two basic steps will be around 866,000 Rand, basically cutting the interest in half. With that said, it's really important to make sure you make use of a flexi account, or in other words, an access bond. Don't be this guy and use CarTrak's Car Watch feature. It's basically your personal car guard. This early warning system is activated with one touch from your app that alerts you and CarTrak if your parked vehicle moves without your knowledge, so CarTrak's recovery team can take action immediately. Cars don't come cheap, and that's why you want to protect them. So whether you are buying a new car or getting serious about protecting your car, getting CarTrak is one of the smartest decisions you can make for your peace of mind. CarTrak is the stolen vehicle recovery experts, loved and recommended by insurance companies all over South Africa. They boast an over 90% success recovery rate and go beyond theft protection and stolen vehicle recovery with exclusive safety features tailored specifically for you. You've got the right wheels, now you need the right protection. An access bond is like a savings account for your property, and you can technically reduce your overall interest if you use your access account for your savings. You will effectively receive a prime rate return of 11.75% for any funds that you store in your access account. So if you are someone that likes saving, save your money in your access bond, because you will still have access to that money, but you will reduce your overall interest quite significantly. Just one thing that you need to remember is there's two different access bond types. So the first option will be that any additional payments that you make into your access bond will reduce your monthly repayments. This is the first option available. Your monthly repayments will be reduced, but your loan term will still be the same. This is personally the one that I choose because I follow the refinancing strategy, but the one that you will probably select is the second option, which reduces your loan term, but it keeps your monthly payment amount the same, meaning that you will be able to reduce your term from 30 years to 14 years like in this example, but your monthly repayment will still be exactly the same. But again, you can choose the first or the second option. Then lastly, one of my favorite ways, and this is a very underrated way to reduce your interest payments, is to make bi-weekly payments. This is simply making payments every second week instead of making one payment at the end of the month. Traditionally, you will have a debit order that goes off at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. But a bi-weekly payment means you will split your overall bond repayment in two, meaning let's say we had to pay 5,000 Rand, we will split this payment into 2,500 Rand and 2,500 Rand, and instead of paying it once off, we make this payment every second week. And the idea would be if we make bi-weekly payments, meaning every second week, there's obviously 52 weeks in a year, divide that with 2, which is our bi-weekly payments, which will mean we will make 26 weekly payments instead of 12 monthly payments. If we break that down to monthly payments, at the end of the day we make 13 monthly payments instead of 12 monthly payments. But let me show you what massive impact this can make on the exact same example. If we just excuse this is in dollars and not in rand, but the idea is the same. If we had to make monthly payments, it would be around 5,000 Rand, and the total interest again will be around 1.3 million Rand. But if we make bi-weekly payments of around 2,500 Rand every second week, we can cut down our loan term from 30 years to only 19 years. This means by following this bi-weekly strategy, we will save around 553,000 Rand on interest. The reason I'm showing you this is because imagine you combine all of these tips to focus on paying down your debt as quickly as possible. You will be able to cut your loan term in half. One of the easiest tips that you can implement is to make sure that you get the lowest interest rate possible, and the lower your interest rate, the less interest you will pay overall. So this is something that you need to focus on from the beginning, because the lower your interest rate, the better. Another thing that I wanted to mention is when you use a bond to purchase a property, there's initiation fees involved, and this is simply a fee that the bank charges you to initiate your loan. One of the tips that I can add is to, instead of adding this payment to your monthly installments, rather pay this once off with cash, because otherwise your bond repayment will just go up and you will have to pay more interest over the loan term. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you learned at least one thing, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.